Hey gamers, welcome back. This is Eviee with What's Your MMO? I know some of you have been waiting for this next interview. My apologies. However, with the 4.0 release, I have been just a little bit distracted. I spoke with Rhalister, who has been playing since Korean release, and he shared with us some of his experiences and gaming strategies. I started off by asking him how he got to be such an awesome Sin.
Some would beg to differ whether I'm actually good or not. Definitely say I'm better than average, and I've worked hard to get the gear I have. I still make a lot of mistakes. I mean, there's definitely a lot of better Sins out there. I think I have moments of clarity where I can contend with them, but I do fail quite often.
I don't think a Sin is an easy thing to play, number one. And number two, I think that, part of that making mistakes is how we learn what to do or what not to do the next time.
Yeah. When I was on Trinio, like, the two best Asmo Sins or whatever were like the biggest jackasses in the world and didn't bother to ever help anyone get any better. And so I ended up making friends with Elios Sins on this server. Back in the day, Silver Luna when he was here, Kerplop, Dark Scorpio when he still had his Elios. Riza for a short time I spoke to him. Pretty sure it was a guy. A lot of people think he's a girl. I don't know. Pretty sure it was a guy I was talking to. Yeah, so they all helped me get better. They all told me the things I was doing wrong. Encouraged me to practice at weaving and kind of showed me how to do it. And that's how I got better, plus watching their PvP videos.
I hear that a lot, like even from Karos and Annie there, they both said that they watch PvP videos.
They give a lot of inspiration, I guess. I mean, I wasn't having really any good luck back on Trinio, because no one was telling me what to do, or not what to do, but how to play my class better. Like, I didn't know what I was doing wrong. And also, that's probably when I had the best ping, before they moved the servers to Texas. But yeah, no one told me what I was doing wrong. And then one day I just happened across one of Riza's original PvP videos, and it gave me the inspiration I needed to continue on and try to get better, because I really like them.
So you think maybe just watching some of the videos would probably be the most helpful thing for somebody new?
Depending on what you're trying to do, yeah, if you want a PvP, watching PvP videos for your respective class and trying to decipher them in some fashion to try to figure out what would be better or how to play the class better.
I know I've done that. When I have watched like a couple, and it's I look at how they've got like their bars set up, and I try to see what order they're hitting the skills in and that kind of thing. Kiting was something that has taken me a long time to learn, but I'm getting there. That and key binding. Do you key bind or do you click?
I keybind everything. I clicked in the beginning, and then I felt that it really wasn't good. I got my hands on a G13 and mastered that, I guess. The G13 gamepad, Logitech, I think.
Yep.
Most people won't actually like using it, is what I've been told. Like, they won't master it. I guess that's what it is. Like, it just doesn't feel right for a lot of people. I've known a lot of friends who tried it and returned it because they didn't like the feel.
One of those people.
I mean, you can't use the G13 and use your WASD as the keys. You have to use the joystick.
Right. And that's where I struggle with it. I have one and I keep pulling it out and I keep trying again and again, but It's the joystick I have a problem with. It just doesn't exactly that feel right. Maybe I'll just keep practicing on it. I don't know. But you find that there's enough keys on that to bind everything?
That, I mean, not now, with all the new skills that came with 3.0.
Mm-hmm. What is it about Aion that keeps you coming back to it?
I don't know what is about Aion. I mean, I know it's an intensely frustrating game with the RNG system that they have implemented with mana stones and enchanting and just all sorts of annoying things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you succeed in Aion, you feel really fulfilled. You feel fulfilled about it.
Mm-hmm.
In Guild Wars 2, that was the big issue for me. I didn't. And I got my legendary. I gave it to a friend, as it didn't matter. There was nothing special about it. It just looked. And it didn't even match the get-up I fucking had, so I didn't care. And I played 3 classes over there. And I figured, I started with a thief, closest thing to a sin, but it's really not. I liked it, moved on to a couple other classes, Elementalist, Ranger, Warrior. I did World v World, I did PvE, I did Structured PvP, and the Structured PvP was probably the funnest part about it, but in the end, there is no real reward for anything. Nothing that gives you a leg up over anyone else in any other situation. And I know that was their idea to keep it fair and balanced, which I agree with to a certain extent, but the game is more of a, I would say, low-end casual sort of game. I mean, that's not really what I'm looking for. I like being rewarded for working hard. That's how I got my 50 Elite. I was the second or third person on Trinial that had a 50 Elite weapon, because I worked hard for it. And that gave me an edge over other people who hadn't worked as hard yet. And, I went into the game with a real elitist attitude, and I still kind of carry it with me, but I'm a nicer person now, I guess. On the internet, at least. But that kind of goes back to the whole trolling thing. I hated being trolled. I got very angry. I trolled back. Got very abrasive. I got banned for 3 days for telling someone the better part of them ran down their mother's leg. Things like that. And then at some point I was just like, I don't even know why I'd call people bad or trash. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. These people fought against me. I won. I played a little bit better. I do particularly well against Sorks and most SMs because I stack more MR than usual, and plus the 2 MR buffs I get means I resist half their shit, so I don't even have to worry about it most of the time, and then I just, eat them alive. They're a cloth. Same thing with a lot of Sins and Rangers. They don't have the MA to stop me because I have such a high MR with my buffs up.
Right.
It's just different builds. I'm particularly weak against most plate, but that's gotten to the point where I don't particularly care what other people say to me, and I generally try to be nice to both sides of the faction when it comes to any sort of vocal interaction or typing, I guess. I just try to be a better person now as I've gotten older, even though I'm not really that old.
No, you're not.
I've just gotten to the point in my life where I'm playing a game to have fun, play with my friends,
Right.
Be slightly competitive, and I just want to be happy and have fun.
Right. I liked what you said about being rewarded for working hard.
The first time I quit Aion was, I think, a couple months after the release of the Crucible stuff, the original release.
Mm-hmm.
I got the gear, plus 10'd it, socketed, and then some of my, the original CYT leadership, which I was part of. But our leader, he popped into Vent. He's like, hey, you guys should come play Star Wars The Old Republic. And I was like, why not? I'm bored. I played that for a couple months and then kind of wished I hadn't. But that was actually kind of a fun pick-me-up game. kind of like Guild Wars
Mm-hmm.
2.
Mm-hmm.
But I quit that, came back to Aion, waited for Guild Wars 2. That came out, played that, was upset that I'd quit Aion and came back to Aion in 7 months. And had to get all of the rest of my augment gear that I didn't get.
Right. Right.
Which at this point I just paid to win. And I went out and bought those D tools or whatever for
Mm-hmm.
D and Old Abyss gear. Because I
Mm-hmm.
had a ton of weapons and I just got all the AP that I needed.
That's a good idea.
Well, I don't really like the concept of pay to win, but I think that was my bonus check when I was doing that, so I didn't really care.
You've been playing long enough, you're entitled.
But yeah, it's definitely the working hard and being rewarded for it.
Yeah, it
And
is.
just general RNG. I hate it, but I love it at the same time, I guess.
Right. It's like a train wreck.
Like, yeah, I mean, my paralyze never goes off when I need it, except when I duel Stogie. I'll paralyze him 100 to 0. And it's my offhand Godstone. But I was in the Harmony I was in earlier. I got paralyzed like 3 or 4 times every round by the same fucking Glad. It was ridiculous.
Oh, Sins are a nightmare for me.
Ah,
Very rarely do I
the
beat
best way to
one.
lock, best way to win against the Sin is just to have more MR than they could possibly put out in MA.
Yeah, I suppose.
Unless they're like socketing MA in there, they're only if they have an endgame weapon but no MA socketed, excluding the temporary buff from Killer's Eye, which I guess you could get that into 2 skills the way it works, but they'll only be at 2000 MA. But basically with 2000 MA, and if you're a 2450 MR cleric, which is about as high as it gets right now, that's still about a 45% chance to resist everything. Ambush will probably land a little more often because it has a higher rate of stunning, something like that, one of the previous buffs that they gave it. But
The only
they
problem.
if a Sin times it well, they token stun you to make you burn your remove shock. And then it's just kind of, at that point, you'll see them throw, after your 7 seconds are gone, you'll probably see Oath of Accuracy, Slayer form go up, and they'll carve 5 runes on you. They'll pop Killer's Eye, which gives them an extra 300 MA until the next physical skill is used. So you can theoretically get 2 MA base skills use out of Killer's Eye. Like if you use Pain Rune, it won't remove the buff, and then you could follow it up with an Ambush, which will still have the, it's a physical skill, but it's also a magical skill, so it'll benefit from the bonus from Killer's Eye.
I did not know that. The only problem with being an MR cleric is, at least I have, my 50E Gero was stoned with MR. It took me forever to kill anything. Like, it's okay if I was healing, but if I was trying to kill something, it took forever.
Clerics, enchanters, I think, maybe Templars too, I guess. There's Block Templars. Sins are kind of lucky as we only really need 1 set for everything if we really wanted to. A lot of classes, Cleric being one of them, Cleric, you want a full MR set, no way around it. You want a block set these days. And then, you want a set that's going to give you a little more accuracy and some magic boost, so you can kill shit. Most of that goes into, like, the Cleric's Staff. If you get one of the endgame, the Bollock Staff or whatever, and you combine it well enough as a chunk of accuracy, you socket one of the combines in accuracy, the other in boost, you're generally good to go.
Right.
And then you just have the different armor sets. You have an armor set that's like full boost, you have an armor set that's full MR, and an armor set that's full block, and you have weapons for it.
Yeah.
Templars are the same way. There's a lot of Templars with MR sets, with block sets, and their attack crit sets. Sins are primarily, just full attack with some crit socket into it. Because I lack the attack stones and I'm saving up the composite stones right now and buying felicitous socketing supplements so I don't break them. I had a crap ton of MR stones that I pilfered from my friend Zacharin's account when he gave it to me the first time. So I had like 1,000 MR stones, and I was like, I got nothing better to do with no attack stones, and I'm broke. And I don't really want to try to sell all this, and I want to play an MR Sin, I want to see what it's like. And it's definitely has a lot of defensive attributes, especially against other Sins, some Rangers, depending on what they're trying to do, and most, Clothies. It's particularly hard, like even more so than usual, against the plate classes.
Yeah.
And I have to really control my attack buffs, because that's where all my real damage is going to come from, by managing them better than usual, I guess. Like, I can't just be so free with them, because I'm literally down like 150 points of attack. But with full buffs, I sit at like 2,900 MR.
Wow.
I like killing clerics, because I can't really hit them.
Yeah, no, we can't.
But there's definitely still clerics that can hurt me. They're really good at kiting. RNG is generally in their favor for whatever reason. So even at maximum accuracy and whatnot, I still can't stun them, or I can't land the stun that I actually need to land. Things like that.
Yeah, I see Slayer form, I run.
And they do have like a staff and full accuracy just so they can hit higher MR targets, so they'll use that against me. They'll kite off like my Oath of Accuracy, so I won't be able to land as well on them. They'll just face tank everything else. It really depends on who they are. A good cleric video I recently watched was from Aion. Don't know if it's a guy or a girl, but they're pretty decent. They've always given me trouble. For that, and they always generally run around with a gladiator. And, I have a natural aversion to gladiators, to be honest.
I think Aion is, I think that's a guy, because I think I've watched some of his videos too. I think. I can't remember.
I just saw a video on the forums earlier today and watched that. Fairly entertaining.
It's really good. And it was the kiting. That's where I know it was one of those videos that I'd watched that I had learned that that's what I needed to do, was move. It was like, if I stand still, I die. So I have to keep moving and keep moving. And I've learned, I practiced it more in the PvE first, like against that, those big Karoons. They're not that big, but Tran Win or whatever that is. That was, that's a good one for me to practice on with the kiting and dots and stuff like that. It's a really good place to practice.
But yeah, so,
she hits hard.
It's all about just, I guess if you want to learn to play, it's hopefully finding someone on your server, on your side, who's willing to give you advice and teach you. And watching videos for some random inspiration. Like, I've watched so many different types of Sin PvP videos where I've gotten new insights into how to do certain things against certain classes. Like, one of my favorite ways to open up against a lot of people now is with the casted skill that Sins have, Massacre. Generally, say against like a Sork or something. Sork or SM, they're focused on the mobs, so I have that, half second to where I can actually sit there and, cast a skill on them.
Right.
It generally hits hard enough to peel their shield off. So my initial set of, burst attacks don't have to deal with hitting the shield. It goes straight to HP. That, and if all aspects of it land, the only one I really care about is the slow. They're slowed. So harder to get away. I mean, that's easily potable. There's a lot of defensive against it. But potentially it's good burst. I've had it hit, even with my lack of attack, with my proper buffs, I've still, crit fully geared Templars for like 4K with it in the back of the head. And then followed up with other bursts. So there's that. There's, if you're opening up on a running target, you open up with your Beast Chain, because it has a chance to kind of rubber band them back to you as they run. Just things like that. Always something new to learn, and there's always someone better than you.